World of Warcraft is finally having fun again. After so long where it felt as if the game was just trying to pigeonhole you into one of three overall playstyles, recently World of Warcraft has spread its wings and tried new things. And they aren't in service of high-end endgame content. They exist largely for casual play. I didn't partake in Plunderstorm because Battle Royales bore the hell out of me. However, the recent event, Mists of Pandaria Remix, while flawed, is a massive step in the right direction and a concept that I truly hope they expand and explore in the future. I can make a whole list of problems and issues and critiques that I have with Remix, and I will get to that in this video. However, I do think the strengths outweigh the cons. And doing Remix in this kind of awkward period we've always had between World of Warcraft expansions, where one expansion is largely closing its doors while we're waiting and just sucking up news from the alpha and beta for the next. Putting a Remix event right here breathes a lot of fresh air into the game, while also incentivizing me to play because I can level up alts in a unique and fun way to prepare them for the war within, while going back in time and actually reliving Mists of Pandaria with a twist. So what does Mists of Pandaria Remix really end up doing? It's an expedited playthrough of Mists of Pandaria, but you have access to scenarios, dungeons, heroic dungeons, and raiding while leveling. You get a cape that over the course of you playing acquires more and more stats, and these stats will carry over to your other alts that you do for Mists of Pandaria Remix. So if you go quite hard on one character and then decide, you know what, I'll do it again for another character, for another alt, you already have this giant balloon of stats that you can just, well, tear through the game with, XP gain being one of these. So it doesn't feel as if you're starting from, well, the starting line again. You have a buff because of the work you already put in. And in a lot of ways, this is just Blizzard now changing their focus from character-specific achievements to account-bound or soon-to-be warband-specific accomplishments and progress. And I think this is a massively positive and beneficial change to the game. But also, you acquire unique gear in Mists of Pandaria Remix, and this is where I think the genius of Remix lies, but also where quite a few of its issues may arise, and where you can really see the potential in the future. I don't want it to come off as if the system itself is bad right now, but it could get better in the future. I love this gem system. Basically, as you level up in Mists of Pandaria Remix, you acquire gear, but gear has unique gem slots, and if you are familiar with a game like Path of Exile, where you can gain abilities through gems and slotting them into your equipment, it's kind of that system in a way. It's not as fleshed out or complicated or in depth as Path of Exile, but it's World of Warcraft. It's not meant to be. And it's largely really simple. There's a few overall archetypes of gems that fit in relevant slots, but they may give you new active abilities, or a lot of them are passive. Chances are these aren't going to change your rotation or anything like that, but give you a few buffers here and there, or just a few new tricks of the trade. For instance, I got Sprint on my Enhancement Shaman, so going into Ghost Wolf and then popping Sprint feels pretty good. It seems like there's an entire archetype of gem just for other abilities, from other classes or from the Covenant system of Shadowlands. You have some gems that are just stat bonuses, and some that are pretty cool cosmetically, like summoning a giant hailstorm down on my enemies, or some others I can actually keep track of, like Static Charge, where if I stand in a place for an extended period of time and then I move, an effect happens. I can turn into the crane guy, I can turn into a giant lightning ball and just spew out lightning passively around me to all my enemies. It does a lot of damage in dungeons. It's great for those giant pulls. And the gems largely offer a buff for you and your character, so you feel particularly strong. And for a mode that's largely meant to be kind of a blast through Mists of Pandaria, I think it really works. Now, in the future, sure, not all of the gems are the most inspired or cool things ever. In the future, we could absolutely double down on this idea and go for more zany or wacky or just fun gem design. Maybe quite a few are a bit too passive, but you don't want too many new active abilities, right? Because you still want to be able to maintain your class's playstyle or your spec playstyle. Maybe we could lean into the idea of spec or class specific gems and stuff like that. An idea that I would really like to see is maybe we can have damaging abilities from other classes, like we got their mobility. Sprint is a rogue ability, but I got it in my enhancement shaman. But like, what if on my enhancement shaman I could get Remorseless Winter or Wake of Ashes or stuff like that? We don't need to think about it too heavily because balance is not exactly the priority of Mists of Pandaria Remix. It's meant to be arcadey and just kind of wacky and fun, and I think that's where its strengths lie. So I think if Blizzard are a bit too reserved about adding cool abilities and stuff like this for future events because of the balancing of the mode, that could pose its own issues and really hold it back. But like I said, I think on the whole, this system is really good and can be expanded on in the future. And honestly, feels like more of a beta test than anything, where they want to see if this system can be received well by the player base, or what they need to tinker or tune or prioritize in the future. Blizzard loves implementing mechanics and stuff like this to just see how people feel about it to be expanded on in the future. They love this kind of stuff, and you'll be particularly informed about this idea if you've been playing the game for a significant amount of time. But again, while I think this system can be improved in the future, I think what we have right now is pretty fun. I like getting new gems, seeing what they do, and slotting them in. It doesn't take too much time or thought, but I also don't think they need to take too much time or thought. It's World of Warcraft. We're leveling up through, like, at this point, what is it, like a 12 to 14 year old expansion? Okay, it's 12. God, I'm old. There's no way Mists of Pandaria is 12 years old, dude. It came out like 5 years ago, right? Okay, I digress. Oh, this gotta be how Khadgar felt. The system has a lot of room to improve, but what's here is still really good, and I think works for the style of game that World of Warcraft is. I do kind of wish it would swap your gems to your new gear automatically if you equip it. It's really annoying having to like unslot each gem from the gear I'm upgrading away from to the new one. Like if I'm swapping between two chest pieces that already have 2 gems in them, just swap the 2 gems to the 2 gem slots of the new gear, please, for the love of God. It's not like the most time-consuming thing in the entire world, right? But it's just annoying, and friction that does not need to be there, nor does it add to the experience. I think some people probably operated under the assumption that this would be faster as well. I don't mind the speed it's been taking me because I've been largely leveling through questing, but also it's been getting faster as I've been gaining more experience gained buffs with my cape as I've been playing the game. So I imagine for ult, it's going to be even faster, and I imagine there's methodologies and modes to tackle this that are even faster still than just raw questing. I've done the occasional, dungeon or scenario, we'll get to that, but I like how many options are here. There's a lot of achievements you can do, there's a lot of just overall things you can do here. And I love the fact that we have dungeons, heroic dungeon scenarios, and raiding that we can do while leveling. Because again, it's a remix event for 12-year-old content. We don't need to take it super seriously, just have fun with it, and I think they largely are here, and that's great to see. You don't need to farm remix to go do Mythica Mirdrasil or whatever, or to prepare all your characters to the teeth for the War Within. It's a fun way to revisit Mists of Pandaria, get a bunch of rewards you may have missed out on and some new ones, while also leveling ults for the War Within. So by the time the War Within comes out, I'm gonna have done Mists of Pandaria Remix, and I'm gonna have a Draenei Shaman ready to go, if not a couple more ults. That's great, I love that idea. It's multi-purpose, and it works so well in this period of time that we're in right now. It's not about min-maxing, it's not about bragging rights or whatever, it's just a fun mode that's optional that you can choose to do. If you want to level the old way, you can still go do that. Nothing's stopping you, and nothing forces you to do Mists of Pandaria Remix either. It's purely optional, but with a bunch of cool cosmetics and achievements and stuff you can gain if you so choose to. I'm not the biggest fan of the transmog that came in Mists of Pandaria myself, but there's some pieces I really wanted, like the Kor'kron Dark Shaman set, which I managed to pick up, and now I'm leveling with the Kor'kron Dark Shaman set on my male Draenei Shaman, dual-wielding blade fists. It looks awesome. And it's the simple stuff like that that can really matter when it comes to modes like this. The dumb little personal achievements and just goals that I set out for myself that I want to accomplish, and I can end up accomplishing in a timely manner. Now I really want to grind out a lot of the mounts, because I like the mount, I like collecting mounts, and there's some from really rare mobs and just bosses I have no desire to go re-farm. I can get them here by just grinding, that's great. Tusks of Manaroth, I can go get those. Going to be a grind to get them, but I can go do it. I'm able to set out these own personal achievements and things that I want to pursue because I want them. The game doesn't force me. If I just wanted this to be a way to level ults, I could treat Remix like that. If I largely just wanted to treat it for a collectathon, I can do it like that. If I wanted a dungeon grind, I can do that. If I wanted to just explore the map or kill some rares and stuff like that, I can do that. If I hate myself and want to run scenarios repeatedly, I can also do that. Look, I like the fact they brought back scenarios for this. They do still suck though, right? I'm a returning World of Warcraft player. I haven't played in a while. Oh my god, these things are simple. Like, yeah, it's normal mode, and we have all the new power with the gems and all that. But even compared to the dungeons, they're just like anticlimactic a lot of the time. And as I've done a couple of scenarios now, it's just making me really hope that delves are really better than this system. Because the system itself has a lot of potential, but scenarios were not it. I swear to god, every time I can actually complete one of these things, I have to stand around for like 15 seconds, wondering if it's actually over because it just ended and felt so anticlimactic. But besides that, I think the one main piece of criticism that I have about Mr. Pandaria that we actually have to do here in Remix, I think picking Mist for this mode, by the way, was kind of brilliant. Looking back on it, Mists of Pandaria is an amazing expansion. What were its biggest issues? When you got to endgame, you were grinding dailies. Oh yeah, remember grinding Klaxi dailies? Oh, Shadowpan. I don't think you're going to be doing that at endgame here in Mists of Pandaria Remix because, you know, you just do the raids and you just spend bronze for whatever achievement, or not achievement, but whatever gear or transmog or mount or critter you want. So the funny thing about Remix is that it's kind of circumnavigating, wrong word, it's kind of ignoring the biggest problem that Mists of Pandaria had, which was the sheer amount of dailies it had you do, while focusing in on its strengths, the leveling, the dungeons, and the raids. Scenarios are there, but we can ignore those, largely speaking, or they're not too obtrusive. It's kind of funny how that worked, isn't it? And at any moment in time, the moment I feel that I'm personally done with Mr. Pandaria Remix because I've gotten what I want, I can just leave. My character will be there for the war with them. It's so good. Because again, it doesn't need to feed into Mythic Plus, into High-End Arena, or into Mythic Rating. It doesn't need to do that. This is mid-core content in World of Warcraft that appeals to casuals, to high-end, and everyone in the middle. How long has it been since we could say that? Is it without flaw? Absolutely not. There's plenty of issues. Swapping gems can be a bit annoying. Not all the gems are the most inspired things in the world or are necessarily that fun. There's a few standouts, and a few that I really like aesthetically. It's largely just, you know, Mists of Pandaria, but that's also, you know, what it's kind of supposed to be. Maybe they could lean into the arcadey nature of it a bit more in the future. Sure, there's things to improve on, but what we got not only has room to grow and to be iterated on in the future, but I genuinely believe what we got is actually fun and just nice. Because nothing says that I have to just play Mr. Pandaria Remix. I can go back to my Evoker I just finished leveling up and continue those quests, or gearing out that character, and then when I feel like it, I can come back to Mr. Pandaria Remix while the event's still live, and continue upon that journey. Like, to me, that's just a massive positive. I don't feel as if Blizzard is over my shoulder with a 12 gauge telling me to log on and grind for Mr. Pandaria Remix, or I'll miss some kind of permanent buff or whatever. I don't feel that. It's like when they added Mage Tower back in the day. It's not the similar type of content that Mage Tower was, but it's a pillar of game that can exist by itself for those who it appeals to. I think World of Warcraft massively benefits by having content in that vein. So overall, 2 thumbs up for me. And they added dragon flying, or dragonflight, whatever it's called, while leveling, and oh my god, it's so better. It's so quicker, and it's so just nice. Dragonriding is legit one of my favorite additions to World of Warcraft they've ever done. It makes flying an actual gameplay mechanic and not this kind of like ostracized ghoul that it used to feel like, that just sits in the corner of your room eating up your table scraps. Blizzard used to hate flying, at least it felt like it with Pathfinder, but now it's an actual feature that makes the game better in my opinion. Again, thumbs up for me. And with that, I think I'll call the video there for the day. I kind of just want to go play some more. That's a good feeling to have with the system, isn't it? So thank you all for tuning in. Leave a comment down below with what character you are running in Mr. Pandaria Remix. I'm running a Janai Shaman personally, enhancement, having a blast with it. And what you are aiming for, or what you want to see in the future for another style of remix. What expansion do you think should get the remix treatment next if they do it? I kind of want to see Warlords of Draenor, I'm not gonna lie to you. Because again, what was Warlords of Draenor's strengths? Dungeons, raids, leveling. What does remix focus on? Dungeons, raids, leveling. I think Warlords of Draenor could have a massive remix event. And if you take the lessons we're learning from Mr. Pandaria's remix, oh, I'm on board. I'm so on board. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.